the head coach of the San Diego State Aztecs basketball team, Mr. Steve Fisher. Coach, that was the thing that was kind of surprising to me, was the fact that you guys played poorly on Saturday following a loss. Normally following a loss, you guys have come back and bounced back and played with a vengeance your next time out.
I was disappointed that we didn't play better also, Chris. We didn't have the sense of urgency that you have to have no matter who, when, where, what extent, how many times, what you just did. And we didn't have that, and it manifests itself just in small ways, but it for sure was there. They played harder than we did. They played better than we did, and that is unacceptable.
Coach, I know you want to send the right message to your team, but is it more surprising that they had a bad game, an off game like that, or is it more surprising that I can't think back for, years to the last time that your team really just struggled the way that it did? That usually happens to most teams from time to time.
It can happen to anybody, anytime, any place. You feel that euphoria when you see the ball go through the rim and through the net, and we didn't have it go through very often. We had 9 points in the first half. So when it happens, human nature is you start to you feel a little sorry for yourself, and that can't happen, but it happens. And rather than bow your back and say we're going to dive on the floor, we're going to not let you score more than 9 points if we can't score. And that's how the mentality you have to have. That being said, they had 20. And that's not very many points either.
No.
So we were. I told our team in the press, when I watch it on tape, we weren't as bad as we were when I watched it live. And usually that's the case. You're never quite as good as you think you were, nor quite as bad as you think you were. But our kids know you go anywhere, and you're going to have the pressures of the crowd, the travel, and that opposing team. And Wyoming is a team, we're all in the same boat. It's just from the pulpit you preach from. Wyoming started the season 13 or 14-0, and they very easily right now could be 16-1. They lost their home opener against Boise on the buzzer beater, and other than that, they could be 16-1. They're good. They are a good basketball team, and they showed it against us. Washington and Nance are two big guys. They are really, really talented, and they are doing what we haven't done in 2 games, making threes. When they got looks, they made them. When we got looks, we missed them.
Coach Steve Fisher is with us. The Aztecs have dropped 2 straight to fall to 2-2 in the Mountain West Conference. Coach, how did you deal with the loss in terms of right after that game on Saturday? You haven't had many games like that to have to come up with the proper things to say to your kids. I imagine that you go a little bit of the route where you don't want to get on them too much because they already felt bad enough about the way things went.
No, I think I did get on them and got on them hard and loud to let them know that this was not going to be accepted for many of us. And I say when you stink from the head, and I'm the head. So I put myself in the same boat with all of them. I've got to do a better job. You have to do a better job. We have to do a better job. That was the theme. This was not the time to say everything's okay. This was the time to say everything's not okay, and we're going to make it okay. So that was the theme. I was not the nice Steve Fisher that I can be. I think it was the time to be that guy.
Coach, I'm trying to picture a not nice Steve Fisher, and it's not coming to my head.
It's not computing.
Tell me a little bit about Winston Shepard. He's been pushed into a much bigger role with the injury to Xavier Thames, and has excelled at times, but has also shown some of those freshman moments. And I clearly at Wyoming seem to mentally get a little disturbed, like the rest of your team there in the second half. What is it going to take for Winston to become that leader that a point guard needs to be out on the floor when he's out there?
Time, and we don't have time, so he's going to have to spread his wings and play unlike a freshman. And as you stated, he has done that at times, but you can't allow yourself to only be good when, as they say, the wind is at your back. And anybody can be good then. You got to be tough and good when nothing's going well and nothing's going right. And that's the challenge, not just for Winston, but for everybody. But usually young guys are less able to deal with it than the veteran guys. But if you're on that floor, you're a veteran guy, and we expect you to play like one.
Coach Steve Fisher with us. Aztecs and Nevada coming up tomorrow night, and it's another road game, so it doesn't matter who you're playing. We know it's going to be tough on the road at Nevada. It's a game. I don't know that are you into the must-win thing, Coach, or do you talk that way, or do you just try to focus on a game? I mean, you don't want to make this losing deal a habit, so I would imagine this game becomes pretty darn important tomorrow night.
Chris, every game is important. You have to prepare for that next game. You can't start stressing and agonizing, well, if we don't win this one, then this is going to happen. You can't do that, or you'll get eaten up by the pressures of the moment. You have to have just enough pressure the right way and the sense of urgency to know that this is our time, and we have to seize this opportunity. And that's the approach we're taking. I've said this before. You forgive, but don't forget. Don't forget how it felt. Don't forget why, in some ways, that it happened. But then you move to the next page, and the next page is Nevada-Reno, and we have to be prepared for that game. They're a very talented team, and they, as you said, it's at their building. I've never played a game there. I heard they're giving out the first 8,000 or 9,000 people that come in a white T-shirt for a whiteout that they're having. So this will be an atmosphere that you have to prepare for, but that's every time you take the road. Wyoming had the biggest crowd they'd had in the last 7 years there. I was surprised when I went out. I thought it would be like Boise. Boise was about half filled in their opener, and this game was almost completely sold out, and they let us know that they didn't like us.
Coach, I know you don't care about really dropping in the rankings. That's not important to you. And as you said earlier, your team doesn't have a bad loss. I mean, Syracuse, Arizona, UNLV, Wyoming, all excellent college basketball teams. But some people are also saying that there's not a ton of really, really impressive wins on the resume either. UCLA's been playing better. I mean, Indiana State's a good team. Colorado State's a good team. When it comes to the tournament at the end of the year, you want as good of a seed as possible. How important is it that the Aztecs get some of those, impressive wins that are going to wow the committee when it comes time to pick that NCAA field?
Well, I do, we do all care about being in the rankings. Everybody likes to see a number in front of your name when you look at the scroll coming across the TV or when you pick up the paper. So we've not obsessed over it, but I mentioned to the kids, we're not in the AP poll, and deservingly so. We're in the coaches poll, and I said it and then smiled. I said, because I'm a voter on the coaches poll. And we want to be there. We can't obsess over that. We can't worry about who we've beaten. We've got to put our nose out in front of our face and say, who's next? And we're going to get that next one. And the next one for us is as we've talked about. So we've got to be prepared when we go up there. We're practicing today, and school is in session. And so we've got to get back into the groove of being in school, being a student and an athlete. Then we fly out on a commercial flight and get ourselves set and get a victory tomorrow against Nevada, and everything will look a lot better.
Look a whole bunch better. Have the kids been pretty boisterous the last couple of days? The team leaders, have they been stepping up the way you'd like to see them?
They've been okay. They've listened. I've done more talking than they have, but they've done a good job of. I can tell when they're receiving the message, and they've received the message of what is necessary, what has to be done. And it has to be carryover from what you do in practice to what you do in the games. So we have to make sure that we're smart, intense, the right way, listen well, and execute in practice. So it's rolling out of bed because we've been there, done that the day before against the red team or against the scout team.
And last thing for me, Coach, how did Xavier Thames do in practice yesterday, and what you're thinking about tomorrow?
I'm still concerned about him, Chris, and he shot, did 5.0, has done nothing 5.5. So we're going to talk today about do we do some light stuff with him 5.5 and see what it brings. I would say he's very questionable for tomorrow's game, and he's critical to the success of our team on both sides of the ball. Nobody cares, though, on the other side. Nobody cares who you don't have. They just want to beat you. So with or without X, we have to make sure we're ready to go, and right now I would say he's iffy.
Coach, sorry to say this, but I mean, I've interviewed you so many times that you do sound a little bit down right now. I mean, you sound like the last couple of losses have affected you just a little bit. Is that a fair analysis? Are you down right now? Or are you just a little quieter right now because you guys have been beaten a couple of times?
I don't feel down. I better look in the mirror if I come off that way. I'm a realist, and we haven't played well enough the last couple of games.
Yeah.
The fun in I'm a big guy in little one-liners, and the fun in basketball is winning. It ain't no fun when you don't win. So I've never been overly glib and funny, but I'm not down at all. I'm not down. I'm a bit mad at myself, mad at how we've played, and hopefully I'll be a little bit mad at Nevada when we show up on tomorrow night to play. So I don't want to come across as down. I am, that's the worst thing that I could do. If I'm portraying woe is me and this and that kind of an attitude, then I'm a bigger part of the problem than the players.
Don't think that's the case, Coach, and nothing to win won't solve. Good luck tomorrow night at Nevada. We'll be pulling for you, and thanks for joining us.
Okay, gang. Thank you.